The forest had no name on any map. Locals called it Hollowswood, but only in hushed tones, as though speaking its true title might summon the thing that dwelled within. It was a place where sunlight fractured into splinters, where shadows pooled like oil, and where the trees, gnarled, blackened sentinels, leaned inward as if sharing secrets. Few ventured beyond its outskirts. Fewer returned. Chapter 1. The Last Campsite. Ellie Mercer's boots crunched over frost-veined leaves as she pushed deeper into the trees. Her brother's journal, water-stained and fraying at the edges, trembled in her grip. Day 4, his final entry read, "The whispers aren't stopping. They're coming from the ground, from the roots. I think it knows I'm here." 2 months had passed since Owen vanished while researching local folklore for his graduate thesis. The police blamed drugs or bears. Ellie blamed the journal's last sketch, a figure with antlers fused to its skull, its body a tangle of thorns, standing at the edge of a clearing Owen had labeled the Hollow Heart. She found his campsite at dusk. The tent was collapsed, slashed open by something jagged. Owen's camera lay in the mud, its lens cracked. The photos inside were blurred, save one, a silhouette, impossibly tall, half buried in the undergrowth, its head tilted at a broken angle. As Ellie unzipped her own tent that night, the forest exhaled. The air thickened with the scent of wet rot. She told herself the muffled sobs she heard were an owl, the skittering against her tent, just the wind. But then the whispers began, hundreds of overlapping voices, hissing like static. "Run!" they seemed to say. "Run! Run! Run!" Chapter 2. The Hollow Heart. By morning, the whispers had burrowed into Ellie's skull. She followed Owen's coordinates to a clearing where the trees formed a perfect circle. At its center stood a stone altar, moss devouring its runes. The ground pulsed faintly, as though breathing. Owen's backpack lay nearby. Inside, Ellie found a dried wreath of wolfsbane and bone shards carved with symbols. A Polaroid fluttered out. Owen, pale and wild-eyed, pointing at something off camera. Scrawled on the back, "It's not a legend, it's a curse. The Hollow Man takes what hears him." The wind died. The forest went preternaturally still. A low, resonant hum vibrated in Ellie's teeth. From the trees emerged a figure, 8 feet tall, its body a lattice of bark and sinew, antlers crowned with cobwebs. Its face was a hollowed mask, save for 2 pits where eyes should glow. It didn't walk. It unfolded, limbs creaking like bending oaks. Ellie froze. The Hollow Man tilted its head, and the whispers erupted, not from the forest, but from inside her mind. "You shouldn't have come back," it spoke with Owen's voice. Chapter 3. The Offering. Ellie fled, crashing through brambles that snagged her skin like pleading fingers. Behind her, the earth split, roots surging upward to block her path. The Hollow Man's shadow loomed, stretching until it swallowed the sun. She stumbled into a cavern hidden beneath a deadfall. There, pinned to the walls by thorny vines, were dozens of bodies, some skeletal, others fresh, all with their ears torn off. Owen hung among them. His face was waxen, his eyes milky orbs, but his lips moved. "It's too late for me," he rasped. "The Hollow Man feeds on sound, on voices. He'll take yours, unless you take his." A guttural roar shook the cavern. The Hollow Man filled the entrance, his antlers scraping stone. Ellie gripped Owen's bone shard and lunged, plunging it into the creature's chest. Black sap bubbled from the wound. The Hollow Man shrieked, a sound like splitting timber, and collapsed. The forest shuddered, then silence. But as Ellie reached for Owen, his hand closed around her wrist. His milky eyes cleared, flashing amber. "Foolish girl," he hissed in the Hollow Man's voice. "You can't kill a god." Epilogue. Search parties found Ellie's camera a week later. The final photo shows her standing in the Hollow Heart, grinning too wide, antlers sprouting from her temples. The audio file, though, is what haunts. 47 seconds of overlapping whispers, growing louder until a voice that isn't human, isn't Ellie, isn't Owen, screams, "Listen!" Hollowswood is quiet now, but if you stand at its edge at twilight, you'll hear it. The faintest hum beckoning you deeper. "Come," it seems to say. The Hollow Man is hungry,